Why do you get married? Initially you find someone attractive, you become a political animal, and when you spend a good amount of time with them, you fall in love, then stupidly enough, you propose, and they're even more stupid, they say yes. So you get married. Why can't you just love yourself? I mean, it's a stupid thing to say, but I mean, it's no different than the question that you raised. Why can't you just love yourself? Why didn't you have a companionship? Just be self-sufficient. The truth is, for some strange reason, life is not enough. I mean, look, you're sitting in this class. I mean, you're getting an A, 3 units. But no, that's not enough. You want to come to class and be entertained. You want to be inspired. You want to be excited. You want the class to be meaningful. Well, fuck all of that. Why do you need those things? For some strange reason, just sitting and getting an A is not enough for you. I mean, getting up, brushing your teeth, having some Cheerios, coming to school and going to work. How sort of a life is that? At a certain point, you say, you know what, I want to believe in something. I want to do something that is different than the tables and chairs of life. I want meaning, man. I mean, why do you think people cheat? It's not because they want to break up their marriage or relationship. Taking care of the kids, and then vacuuming, and then laundry, and then work, and then all the conflict, and then your own shit, and then her shit, and then the kids' shit, and then the politics of life. After a while, 5, 10, 15, 20, 30, 40 years pass by, one day you look yourself in the mirror and say, what the hell do I have left? Nothing. You're invisible to your kids, you're invisible to your companion, you're invisible to your boss, you're invisible in the classroom. And God damn it, you're a human being, man. You want to be seen, you want to be felt. And you go out there and some man or some woman or some animal looks at you and say, yes, I exist. Why do you need that? Just the way we are. At least before, you get to be 40 and you die. I mean, 100 years ago. You get a toothache, no one can fix it, you just die. You have a stroke, you die. Heart disease, you die. I mean, I have outlived my usefulness. I don't want to talk, I don't want to think, I don't want to write, I don't want to be around people. I don't want to be around my wife. I don't want to be around my kids. My dad is 93 and he's beginning to forget. My mom has cancer. She'll soon die. My brother is in life. My sister is in her life. The truth is, from this point on, it's just a life of distraction, man. The only thing I pray for is to die in my sleep. The point I'm trying to make is sometimes you just have too much of life. And then when you have too much of life, at a certain point you say, what should I do with the next 20 years or 10 years? And the truth is, well, you know what? You have outlived your usefulness. Maybe you should do what Jesus did. I mean, that's after you have relatively completed a good amount of life. So you know what? Maybe I should just walk on a stage, give a riveting, exciting sermon that just pisses people off, and someone from the audience can just shoot you and you just die as a hero. No, the point I guess ultimately I'm trying to make is, I think it's to some extent great that you come to a place where you realize that life is not enough and you need more or you want more. It shows a great capacity on your part. Many of us are interested in just money, or many of us are just interested in coming to class and getting an A. You, on the other hand, you say, no, I'm not satisfied with just walking to the classroom and just sitting there getting bored just to get a stupid A. I want the class to be meaningful. Now, there are 20 people in this classroom who don't really care for that. You're the one who cares. Which means that there is something about you that these other people either don't have or are not yet at that stage to kind of be possessing that particular quality. And it's the not enoughness that drives evolution. And it's really, really great. I mean, sometimes this particular greed can be devastating. I mean, did Palestine really need to get destroyed? Probably not. Does Iran need to get destroyed because of few people's greed and political aspirations? Probably not. But is it what we do? Yeah. I mean, consider this incompetent group of people, organization we call the UN, a few days after World War II. It's there to keep peace amongst the countries. I mean, it does a lousy job, but nevertheless, it's like the Starfleet, if you've seen Star Trek. It's an organization that, makes sure that all these stars are working relatively harmoniously. And we create these organizations because we know that there is something evil about politics, something evil about human beings, and they need to be put on check at all times. The problem is a lot of people have to suffer. I just don't know if it's worth it. I don't come from a culture where we were promised happiness. that didn't exist in my culture, it didn't exist in my language, it still doesn't. We don't have poetry that deals about happiness, it deals with happiness. We don't have literature that deals with happiness. In other words, whether you are physically poor or emotionally poor or spiritually poor, the more you're aware of that poverty, the more you express that poverty in ways that fit you. You know, there is this rapper that I really, really like, and I compare his lyrics to, you know, other rappers like Snoop Dogg and Eminem and the rest of them. And this guy is like just beyond all those people. And it's because his mom was a drug addict, his father left, he was addicted to a few things. And at a certain point, and it doesn't happen to everyone, but he was lucky enough to have probably the right physical environment, right temperament, and he became an artist. And his lyrics are really quite revolutionary. You know, he talks about money and power and drugs in ways that I haven't heard any other artist talk about. And sometimes you listen to the music and your body just automatically moves because the beat is so powerful. Now, it doesn't mean that just because your body moves, you're happy. It simply means that there is something really exciting about the music. I mean, about 99.9% of Persian poetry is dark, you know, but this darkness has given birth to beautiful music, beautiful singing, beautiful dancing, beautiful calligraphy. If you look at the mosques in the Middle East, in Iran, calligraphy. I think perhaps what the better question would be, how do you adjust or readjust or redefine the concept of happiness? It's an example we've talked about in this class a few times. If I'm your brother and you and I have a great relationship, and I come to you and say, no, I just came back from the doctors, I got stage 4 cancer, 6 months to live. Is that a happy news for you? No. But will you be happy helping me out in the last few days of my life? Absolutely. You know, the very fact that you're willing to sacrifice what you consider as entertainment, being around your friends, smoking, drinking, watching porn, taking classes, you sacrifice all those things and you come to my bedside and you help me out. Now, from a distance, you know, someone would say, why the hell would you want to put yourself in such a miserable condition? Your brother's dying, there is no hope, you know, just put him in hospice care. And you say, God damn it, no, that's my brother. I want to be there for the last few days. And all of a sudden, your vision of happiness, you know, has gone through this baptism. You know, it's no longer about drinking or smoking. Someone you love, you're going to lose this person soon. And before that day comes, you want to be around him as much as possible and do what little you can for him or her. And so I think pain has the power to redefine what happiness means. And the less pain you have suffered, the more shallow your definition of fun or happiness. The more you've gone through. I mean, this guy, you know, he takes care of sick, old, dead people almost. I mean, it's a miserable job to have. You know, I had a friend, Gene Coffey, retired now, but he worked at ICU, Sutter Hospital in Sacramento, and she would say, she would go home. She was married with a son. The first half hour when she would come home, she would just go into her closet and just cry for a good 45 minutes, just to get the stuff out. She knew she was mature enough not to contaminate her family with all the emotions that she had. And then once the emotions were released, she would come downstairs, you know, cook and clean and, you know, chat with her husband or with her kid, and that was it, you know. But I think one of the nice things about cultures like India, like Africa, like the Middle East is that they have come to experience how traumatizing life really is. You know, you lose a kid, you lose a parent, you're diagnosed with incurable disease, you know, and your marriage falls apart, or you just have a bad relationship, or just politics of life, you know, people just shitting on you on a daily basis. I mean, take a look at the pictures that come out of Gaza in Palestine. There is not a goddamn single structure that's standing. Everything has been toppled. You know, when you come from that particular background, you realize that you have no choice but to create literature, music, poetry, any work of art that deals with the tragedies of life. You didn't ask for this, and yet someone, a country, a culture, a person who's greedy enough, unreflective enough, you know, gives himself or themselves the right to come and just topple every part of your life and culture. And so one of the nice things about these cultures that have been traumatized by life, punished by life in a very, very cruel and brutal way, is that They don't have an American version of happiness. It just doesn't exist. It's only when the country becomes industrialized, to some extent self-sufficient, where entertainment takes over. And entertainment exists at the very shallow part of, I suppose, the reptilian mind of the human being. Because thinking is tough, reflecting is tough, they're painful things to do. Watching someone die is tough. Is it true that if my father gets sick, at a certain point I'm going to say, God, please take and just kill my father? Because at a certain point, you realize that you're helpless, and being exposed to pain and sickness and death, it slowly calcifies you. You stop feeling. And when you stop feeling, you look at the person in a very objective way and you say, you know what, there isn't anything that anyone can do for this person. They need to die. Be it your father, be it your mother, be it a stranger, it doesn't really matter. The other thing you need to understand about happiness is America is about 250 years old. It's like, a 2-year-old. If you ask a 2-year-old, what makes you happy? Bicycle, or ice cream, or pornography. That's what a 2-year-old wants. If you ask a 70-year-old, what's happiness? Walking from here to the bathroom, pulling down my pants and being able to pee without any pain, having a good night's sleep. And you realize that why is it that the 70-year-old man does not, define happiness as ice cream? Not that they won't have ice cream, but they've lived a while. They know that, the sort of pleasures or happiness that a 2-year-old is pursuing is very, very different than the sort of happiness that a 70-year-old wants. You know what the function of this class is? It's here to make you miserable. And by that I mean it's here to make you think a little bit. And thinking by itself will have the power to make you miserable. Now, the nice thing about you is that you're young and your life is filled with distractions. You're going to be miserable for 5 minutes, maybe 5 hours. And then you'll forget until you come back, if, of course, you decide to come back here on Tuesday. If you don't decide to come back, then you can be happy for another couple of days, again, until you come back. Then I'll kind of look at you a little bit, pound some ideas in your thick skull. Hopefully, you'll get some emotional arousal from it, and then you'll walk away feeling a little heavy.